Nice to see you again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
All good, all good.
Awesome. So, yeah, it's been a while since we last spoke,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, a few years at least.
Yeah, I think it was when, was it not the Affair of the Poison, maybe?
I can't remember. Genuinely, time has been so. I've got no idea what's happened the last like 5, 6 years. Like everything feels so close
Mm-hmm.
and so far away at the same time. I'm like, even when I'm given like my albums of the year or something, I
Mm-hmm.
put an album down. I'm like, oh, this came out 2 years ago or something. I'm like, Jesus, like just idiot.
I'm exactly the same, so I wouldn't worry about it. And I
Yeah.
review on a weekly basis, and I still lose track of what came out when, so I wouldn't worry about it. So I just need to say congratulations for being signed to Century Media Records.
Oh,
That
thank
is
you very much.
awesome.
Yeah, it's going well so far. The team that I'm working with is sick, so yeah, no complaints for me on my side.
Awesome. So, how did that come about?
Just we were out of contract after the last album, and we ended up getting put in touch with a few labels, and I spoke with three three or four different labels, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
in the end, Century just seemed like the best fit for where my vision was. They seemed most aligned with my vision, and I liked the team that was there, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's a cool roster, and I've got a
Yeah.
whole bunch of Century albums, like CDs and stuff. So yeah, it it just luckily came together, and it was relatively like smooth sailing, really.
Good.
And it just relied on me kind of finishing the album and
Mm-hmm.
getting out there, which I did eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I take it there's no like feeling of pressure because now that you're signed to like one of the biggest worldwide labels, do you feel that there's a lot of pressure to produce, album after album, or are you just like, yeah, I'm just going to do my own thing. This is what you signed me up for, so whatever.
Just do my own thing, and that's what they said as well. Like they're not
Mm,
involved with the music side. They signed us, and they were like, just do what you were going to do anyway. And if you need help, if you
mm-hmm.
need us for anything, let us know, and we'll help you. And that's perfect for the way I work. I just kind of get
Yeah,
all my stuff on my own in my home studio and just kind of um, pick away at the album for quite a while.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, whether it was through Central Media or whether independent or Peaceville or an underground label, the
mm-hmm.
album that's coming out would be the album anyway.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter with the label. But yeah, there was no real pressure or anything. It was just me kind of arguing with myself and uh, trying to, write during the writing process and try to decide what direction I wanted to take a song and
yeah,
picking apart songs, going different versions of each song and
mm-hmm.
deciding where to go and stuff. And that was the only, you know, not it's not pressure. It's just like that's the difficult part of the process. I think just for
Yeah,
me deciding what I want to do exactly. Because yeah, there was so much ideas there that
mm-hmm.
I could have went in a million different directions with each
Yeah,
song, and yeah, there's at least 20 different versions of each song in some form that exist on
yeah.
like my computer and stuff. With different choruses, different bridge, different solo, different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it took me a while just to edit it down to what you're getting on March.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've just got this image of you at like 3 o'clock in the morning arguing with yourself about what bits to cut out and what to keep in and what to move around and things like that.
Very much so. Yeah, and then yeah, just me sending it to like showing it to my partner and showing it to the guys at
Mm-hmm.
the in the band and pals of mine and sending it to the label. Like different versions, and usually it'll be something a tiny change that's not even noticeable, and I'm like, right,
Mm-hmm.
which one do you prefer? And they're like, what's the like? Did you send the same file twice? I'm like, no, listen, the vocal's a bit higher here
Mm-hmm.
than this one, and they're like, okay.
It's
I get
like,
really,
cool, okay.
yeah, I'm like really, I get really into like tiny details, like because I'm not like a perfectionist. I don't want it to sound perfect. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
ultra clean. I don't want it to, I leave mistakes in. Like stuff like that, I don't really care. But I'm a
Hmm.
perfectionist with what I hear in my head. Like I've got
Yeah.
a specific vision I want to hear, and I need to get it to that, no matter how um like nitpicky and into the
Yeah.
details. I'm like, oh, I want to this tiny bit's too loud. Oh, it's annoying me, and no one else
Hmm.
can hear it and stuff. And yeah,
That's the
but
thing about it being too polished, though. You can lose a lot of the energy if you make
mm,
it too polished.
yeah, and I mean, I'm lucky that this style of music and what I like personally and stuff like doesn't rely on overly polished production. There's some
Hmm.
genres of music that the production is a massive, like clean
Yeah.
production is a real big part of the sound and a part of the
Hmm.
genre. And I like some stuff like that. I love
Hmm.
music in all genres and stuff. But yeah, you can with this style of music, you can kind of get away with the worst recording
Hmm.
or kind of somewhat polished recording. And
Yeah.
I'm in a home studio here with very minimal equipment, so
Hmm.
the expectations have got to be realistic for myself as well. I'm not going to
Yeah.
manage a Metallica Black Album level production,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, so it helps the style of music. I think that I can get away with that kind of production.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're talking about the direction that you're going in, that's kind of bringing me on to my next point, actually, because I listened to your four main albums back to back just before the
Okay,
interview today. And it's really cool
for you.
hearing it's really cool hearing like the natural progression. I mean, you have the Hellripper sound. You've got a very
Yeah.
distinct sound. It's not something that you deviate away from too much, but it's not something that you labor the point on either.
Mhm.
Do you find it quite easy or quite difficult to find that balance when you're experimenting?
Sometimes, but the good thing is like I say, since I do everything at home, I've got
Hmm.
like unlimited time to kind of to go through a million different versions and then decide afterwards if it's not working or if it's too wild or if it's too different or if it's too generic or
Hmm.
doesn't fit the song or whatever. So there's parts that I got like quite late into the recording
Hmm.
process and ended up removing like full 5 minute sections of music just because it
Oh
didn't
wow.
fit like it wasn't helping the song or it was taking it in a weird direction or
Yeah.
whatever. And ultimately, yeah, it's got to serve the song.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it is weird getting the balance because I think it just really depends on the song for what I want to go for.
Hmm.
Because for me, if the song is good, that is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So and for me, like I say, I like music of all styles. And
Hmm.
With Hellripper, I've kind of managed to um, get some, like there's a different types of songs in Hellripper. You get the more punk, you get the more black
Hmm.
metal, you get the more thrash, all that. So there's a relatively wide um, kind of there's a few directions I can go in basically
Yeah.
that I've allowed myself to do. Um, but yeah, so equally to me, a 2 minute punk song with two riffs, if it's good, is
Hmm.
just as valid to me as like a 9 minute prog song with 50
Yeah.
different sections. So it really depends on the song. And I think, yeah, because I can, like I said, because I've got unlimited time and stuff to do all
Hmm.
the experimentation, it it just basically comes down to editing and seeing what
Yeah.
what the song what the song calls for, I guess.
It would be really cool how you mentioned that you took out like a whole 5 minute section of a song. It would be really
Yeah.
cool if we had like this massive, sprawling Dream Theater or Blood Incantation massive Hellripper track, like a
Yeah.
monster of like a 12, 14 minute track, but in the style of Hellripper. That would be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Well, that it was actually in the longest song on the album. It was on the title track, which is already 9 minutes
Hmm.
long. So
Yeah.
this was making the song like 15, 16 minutes long, but it wasn't helping. A long song can be great,
Hmm.
20 minutes, 30, it can be amazing, but this just wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
It just, some songs shouldn't go on longer than
I agree.
they have to. Um, and some songs, call for
Hmm.
going half an hour long, whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah. It was just a different, yeah, it just gave a different vibe. Didn't work, unfortunately, but it was a cool piece of music. It was a just in the context of the song didn't
Hmm.
work. So it'll probably be released at some, like it'll probably be put into
Cool.
another song of in some form,
Yeah,
whenever. I don't know when, but yeah,
cool. Awesome. So again, just when you were talking about the direction, this album, your new album, compared to your very first album, I felt it had quite a lot of, harsher melodic death metal elements
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
this new album. What kind of influences were you kind of focused on for this album? Because I know before you've mentioned things like Bathory, Venom, Metallica, and things like that, but this one had like a very harsh melodic death metal kind of
Mm.
vibe going on. So, what were the kind of influences there?
Yeah, so there's a couple songs or a few riffs in places that are very Melodeath inspired. I'm a
Mm,
big fan of bands like Black Dahlia Murder or
yeah.
Children of Bodom, big favorite of
Hmm.
mine. Even some stuff that, like, it's not Melodeath technic speaking, but like Obscura, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Hmm. I
I'm a
got
big
huge
fan of.
Obscura fans from their, I got huge Obscura vibes from their last album on this album,
Oh, okay,
actually.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
yeah,
did.
I'm a
Yeah.
massive Obscura fan, and yeah. So there's elements of that, and even if it's subconsciously, like I like that style of music, and
Hmm.
some of the riffs are more intentionally Melodeath sounding than others,
Hmm.
then some of it's subconscious. But yeah, the first album, first compilation EP, all that kind of stuff. It was like I, I was still, I mean, I'm still learning now, but I had
Hmm.
no idea at all what I was doing at the start. I started Hellripper with no training on how to mix or
Yeah.
record or whatever, and so I was just kind of learning as I went, and
Hmm.
I'd never really written much songs, so I didn't know how to experiment and make things work and how to bring in different elements, how to combine different styles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so my aim with Hellripper was at the beginning was to write to get. I mean, it was mainly get songs down, like just
Hmm.
what I was capable of at the time. And I always do what I always write the best I can at that
Yeah.
moment. And yet over the years, I've recorded loads of songs, a bunch of
Hmm.
albums in different styles, different genres, and I listen to a lot of music and try and pick up different production influences and
Yeah.
songwriting elements. And yeah, just over the years, I feel like I've improved my songwriting ability. I've got more confident in my songwriting ability and improved on my instruments and in my
Hmm.
production and all of that. And you learn what works, what doesn't work,
Yeah.
and you learn how to experiment and stuff like that. And I want Hellripper to have kind of its own identity.
Yeah.
And the only way for me to do that really is to try and incorporate more of me
Hmm.
in that. So influences from all over the place, and whether that could be Melodeath or it could be, yeah, 50s, 60s rock and roll. It can be indie
Yeah.
electronic. Trying to get all that kind of stuff in there within the Hellripper Black Speed sound.
Hmm.
Um, and that's the challenge. It's the challenge sometimes, just like hearing something totally removed from what I
Yeah.
do and then trying to incorporate it in my style. And
Yeah.
that's the fun part, I think, just trying to do something that shouldn't really work on paper, but
Yeah.
try and fit it in.
But the thing is, you make it sound so natural as well, because like I said before, I listened to, your four main albums back to back earlier on today, and you can hear that natural progression per
Oh,
album. And you absolutely outdo yourself every single time
oh,
you
thank
release an
you.
album. I mean, Withered Hags, I absolutely loved that album. It was in my top 10 when it came out. But when I heard this one, as much as I loved your last album, this one completely blew me away.
Oh, thank you so
Um,
much. Thank you.
Particularly with your use of, like, there's a little bit of synth going on, there's a little
Yeah,
bit of violin, cello,
yeah,
piano. You've even experimented with your vocal style a little bit more on
yeah.
this album as well. And I was just like, this just, how do you do it? How do you find all this inspiration?
I love music. First of all, I
Yeah.
love music. I love writing music. That's like my favorite thing. People ask me what I do in my spare time when I'm not writing and stuff, and that's the answer: writing.
Yeah.
Or like to when I'm not writing or whatever, when I'm wanting a break, I'll listen to music. When I'm not in the mood to listen to music, I'll watch a podcast about
Hmm.
music, or I'll read interviews with my favorite bands, or I'll go through like the metal news sites to see what's happening in new bands and stuff like that, or
Yeah.
making of videos in the studio and documentaries and stuff like. So I just
Hmm.
love music, and music of all kinds as well. And I think
Hmm.
that's become important to me over the years, like for my to keep myself creative and to keep myself inspired. Um, listening to a lot of different music, because I think especially it was at the beginning of writing Warlock's Grim. I wrote two or three songs that were kind of more in line with the first couple of Hellripper albums, like less
Hmm.
experimentation. And I listened back to what I had, and it wasn't working for me. It just sounded uninspired. It sounded like
Yeah.
what I'd done before, but just not as good. And it
Hmm.
wasn't vibing with me. And then with the last album, I thought, okay, let's go a different direction. Let's try like taking all these influences, like
Yeah.
different genres and stuff. And it was the most fun I had recording an album, the last album. So it was my fate, and it's my favorite thing that I'd done until the new album. I thought was
Yeah.
a big improvement, and then I just kind of took that a step further on the new album. Like
Hmm.
and it's handy having previous work to build on.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's like a natural evolution. But it's because I release music somewhat regularly, every couple of years.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a 10-year gap and my mindset's completely changed.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like a different kind of sound completely. I've got
Yeah.
something to build on every couple of years, and uh, my influences change and my mindset changes, but not drastically.
Yeah.
So it sounds a bit more natural, I think. And yeah, I just kind of you experiment a bit on one album, and then you kind of build from there and experiment a
Hmm.
bit on top of the previous experimentation. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's yeah. To answer your question, I just love music and I love what I do, and um, I just have fun basically.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
half the battle, though, isn't it? I mean, I'm not going to drop names or anything, but I've been to a few shows where you can see that the artist, the band, are just not enjoying themselves.
oh
They're
yeah,
just they're just doing it for the money, or they're just going through the motions, and there's no heart,
yeah,
there's no soul, there's no enjoyment. And in any kind of line of work, really, in any kind of art whatsoever, if you're not enjoying yourself,
yeah,
that's going to show in your material, and it's
yeah,
clear that you are really enjoying yourself.
yeah. I mean, the because it's such a big part of my life, and it's what I do all the time. The actual process is, I would say, probably even more important to me than the results, because
Hmm.
it's it's what I enjoy. It's my hobby. It's what I love doing. And then yeah, the results are what happens after my 2 or 3 years of doing what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
obviously, I want it to be good. I want it to be the best it can be and stuff. So the result
Yeah.
is important, but I wouldn't like to release an album where I've spent 2 or 3 years like not in a good place, not enjoying the whole process. And
Hmm.
I could come out with the best album ever, but is it worth it? Yeah,
Yeah.
the way, I mean, some people would say so, but for me, I just like to enjoy what I'm doing. And yeah,
Hmm.
I've been around people and seen people and that don't want to be there, and
Yeah.
they're and it's kind of it's sad, because
Hmm.
yeah, because I love every aspect of this. I love that. But I'm grateful that there's people interested enough in my music to
Yeah.
want to speak to me about the music, or want to come see us, or support the band with merch, and from a different, like, allow us to come to different countries and stuff. And I know at any moment it can be over.
Yeah.
Something, whatever can happen. The next album could be awful, and your fan base just
Hmm.
goes. No one's interested, or something like COVID. Stops things happening for
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 years or whatever. And so I'm just trying to enjoy it because I'm grateful for it and I love
Yeah.
it, and hopefully it can continue as long as as long as possible, basically.
Yeah, well, I think you've got a solid fan base behind you we're all rooting for you. So I don't think that's going to be happening
Thank you.
anytime soon.
Thank you.
So, just to talk a bit very quickly about your vocal style, because
Mm,
obviously you have like again this very distinct venomous rasp. You know, it's very blackened with a bit of a punk edge. But on this album, you've kind of I wouldn't go as far to say there's clean vocals. That's the
mm.
wrong word to use, but they are cleaner compared to
Yeah.
what you usually do. And then you've also got like almost like these Peter Steele style spoken word
Mm.
moments as well. What made you want to kind of delve into that?
Just because, again, I mean, yeah, Typo Negative is one of my favorite bands of all
Mm-hmm.
time. And I was listening to a lot of Typo Negative during the writing, recording. And it made, for example, yeah, that spoken word bit um, most prominent on the first song.
Mm-hmm.
It made sense that the song is about a vampire, you
Yes,
know,
I
and
know
the
that
lyric,
song there. Yes.
yeah, and the lyrics there are like from the point of view of the vampire, and so I
Mm-hmm.
thought, yeah, make it a bit, change things up a bit, you know, so it's not screaming all the time. Have this deep spoken word part, you know, in line with Typo
Yeah.
Negative, vampiric influence, whatever, and in the background there's some like weird dark throne vocals as well to kind of
Yeah.
give it a bit of a weird atmosphere. Um, and then yeah, there's some death metal vocals as well, like death growls, because yeah, I love
Mm-hmm.
death metal and they're actually easier for me to perform. It's just that I
Mm-hmm.
think the high blackened vocals fit better in my music, but the
Yeah.
death vocals are easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, there's like the vocals on the title track, like kind of influenced by like bands like obviously Bathory and
Yeah.
some epic doom stuff and bands like Atlantean Codex and
Mm-hmm.
whatever, even yeah. And it was just, you know, it was like an idea I had. I came up with that piece of music and I thought it kind of calls for cleaner
Yeah.
vocals. And then the challenge was, can I do it? Because I've never really performed that kind of vocals before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then as well as performing, it was like the mixing. How do I make it sound the best? Do I do
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5 takes? Do I harmonize it? The volumes, the
Mm-hmm.
effects, all that kind of thing. So it was a fun, like it took a long time to get it how I liked it, because yeah, like I said, it was the first time I'd really tried it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and again, it just kind of, I think for me it improves the song.
Yes.
It was what the song called for. You know, if it
Mm-hmm.
didn't, you know, I'm not going to do those kind of vocals just for the sake of it, just to say that I've
Yeah.
done it or I can do it or whatever. Um, because there were different parts where I did like different vocal styles and um, different instruments and stuff, and it didn't
Mm-hmm.
work. And yeah, I deleted it. Like that 5 minute bit of music had some kind of clean vocals and had a couple different instruments that I didn't end up using on the album,
Mm-hmm.
but it just didn't serve the song. So I'm not going to put it
Yeah.
in there just to put it in there, you know, just because I'm pleased with trying something new or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just yeah, it's just everything on the album is just kind of a mixture of everything I like and kind of distilling it into Hellripper.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, again, kind of hopefully I get the band gets its own identity, you know, with each
Yeah.
album. Like I say, I'm getting more capable of doing different things that I want to, you know, and when I have an idea or a vision,
Mm-hmm.
I can, I'm more capable than I was before doing it. You know, not everything I can manage, um, not everything I want to do, I can manage to get the way I want it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, it's a learning process. It has been
Yeah.
for the past 10, 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I'm getting closer to the Hellripper sound, I think, with every album. And
Yes.
yeah, and
Yes,
I don't
I
know if I'll
agree.
ever
I mean, I
get there,
don't
you
know
know.
what the ultimate sound is because I'm not Hellripper, but yes, I
Mm.
agree with you.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be a constant kind of, I'm getting closer to the sound, I'm getting closer, and then, you know, it'll be so, as long as the music's good, you know, it's good to strive for
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with those cleaner vocals, I'm going to call them, on the closing track,
Mm.
Coronac, it's really interesting how you say that you took certain things out of the album that just didn't serve the album or didn't serve that
Mhm.
particular song. You didn't want things in there just for the sake of it to prove that you could do it. But with those cleaner vocals on Coronac, that was a good choice because, you know, obviously the Cornac, it's a funeral cry, you know, it's a lament. So that kind of atmosphere really warranted that style of vocal, and you absolutely nailed it. The very first time, not just saying this, the very first time I heard that song, I went, holy shit.
Oh, perfect.
It was amazing.
It's the best reaction to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, because I never, obviously Hellripper's we're a black speed band, and that kind of vocals are maybe it's not too common, and I mean it's a slower song and stuff, so you are going to get people that are against it, which is fine. You know, everyone's got their opinions and likes different stuff, and it's fine. So you know, it was, you know, it was like, is, you know, that, like I say, there's always moments where you're like, is it going too far? Is it serving the song? You know, but I showed it to a couple people, and they said it was cool. So yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's not like you use the cleaner vocals throughout the entire song, because you know your trademark vocals are very much prevalent in it.
Yeah,
but I just think the contrast there, it really built the energy and the atmosphere that kind of song calls for. So fantastic
I'm
stuff.
glad.
Fantastic
I'm glad you think so. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about the kind of stories that you've gone for on this album. The Bavanshi. That I was very surprised to see a song about that, actually, because a lot of the time when you have you know, Scottish themed metal albums, they always go for things like the Kelpies or you know, the Caliac, which is a perfect preference for mine. That's one of my favorite stories. But when I saw the Bavanshi, I haven't heard about the Bavanshi for a very, very long time. So what was it that made you go to that particular story?
I believe it was because I wrote the kind of pre-chorus riff. So I got to the pre-chorus. I'll make myself make sense. The lyrics.
Sorry, I don't make sense ever. Don't worry about it.
The lyrics usually come after the music for me. You know, usually the vibe of the music will dictate the lyrical theme. And I've got a whole bunch of, like, I write down anything and everything that I can use, you know, so I've got a document with just saying Bavanshi or Knuckle V Birkenhair, you know, just like loads of different topics or ideas, quotes, horror films. And when I wrote the pre-chorus, it's kind of like, it's got like a kind of waltzy rhythm. And it's got the violin over it. And I thought, cool, so a waltzy type thing. What could I have anything that would suggest a waltz? Like, what would that suggest? And obviously, there's one of the told stories of the Bavanshi is they will seduce hunters, and they will dance with them and then slit their throats or whatever, and drink their blood or whatever. And I thought that's perfect, you know, the waltz of the damned, waltzing the Bavanshi, kind of seducing the hunters and dancing together. And I thought, perfect, it works for the song. And then it allowed me to, because it goes through quite a number of different, like, sections, you know, there's the mellow death, and then there's the carnivore venom part, and then there's like the end that's a bit like 90s alternative 90s rock kind of influenced, and it allowed me to kind of go through a story, you know. So the start of like the hunters being like killed and seduced and killed, and then it gets to the end where there's the aftermath and one person's left alive and stuff like that.
Because the story goes that the Bavanshi couldn't get to the last hunter because of his horse. It was the iron on the horse that kind of repelled the Bavanshi, wasn't it? Yeah.
So there's and usually, you know, a lot of them, I kind of base my song on a story, you know. It's inspired by that story, but it's slightly different, you know, like there's no horse mentioned and stuff in it. I'm trying to think of another song, but a lot of the songs are kind of take these. Some of the songs kind of follow the stories as they are, and some of them are inspired by the stories, and it's kind of my own way of writing my own story. Just depends on
Yeah.
what happens, really.
No, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, the waltz style,
Mm.
yeah, I think that was a perfect fit for that kind of story, that kind of song. Absolutely.
Yeah, I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. It's the same with like the Art of Resurrection. It starts with a piano intro,
Mm-hmm.
which suggested to me kind of more gloomy post-punk kind of vibes, and then
Mm-hmm.
the setting of uh, 19th century Edinburgh, the
Yeah.
streets like 1800s Edinburgh, the streets like all foggy and dark and
Mm-hmm.
gloomy and stuff. And I was like, cool, perfect. The body snatchers, Birkenhair
Yeah.
in the streets of Edinburgh and stuff. So it's cool when a lyrical theme and the music line up makes it easier.
Yeah. One of the other songs that I really liked as well was Canile, about the McBain war cry during Battle of Culloden and Harlow and stuff like that. I really loved the style of that because it's kind of got that kind of like punky crowd shout kind of vibe going on, but you've incorporated that into Scottish history. Are you by any way related to the McBain clan, or is it just a namesake?
Oh, my name is McBain, and I guess but yeah, that song was fun because I could relate it to myself. It was because yeah, like you say, it's a punkier song, and so that I thought the lyrics could be more personal. I've never really tried that with Hellripper, so I thought, yeah, we'll make it a bit personal. And so it's basically inspired by my time in growing up in Aberdeen, Granite City, obviously, crafting granite, in a way to kind of speak about or showcase a part of the side of Scotland that people don't. When you mention Scotland to people, it's the Highlands and the trees and the lochs and Outlander and
or Edinburgh
stuff
Castle.
Yes. So, and I thought, yeah, I'll speak about, Aberdeen. I mean, I love Aberdeen and parts of it are nice and Aberdeenshire and there's loads of castles and stuff like that. But, a lot of it is grey and sometimes it's quite gloomy and, a lot of people I know have more and more mental health issues, and, there's drug problems and, anytime I go to visit Aberdeen, more shops have closed down, more clubs, more venues have closed down. And I mean, I don't think it's specific to Aberdeen. It can relate to cities all over the world, but obviously my experience is Aberdeen. And so I thought that would be something to sing about, and it adds a different style of lyric to the album, like a personal thing. And then, I could relate the Canile shout to myself, it's a personal song, so do that. And and it made sense to shout it as well, like a gang shout, because it's the war cry. Just loads of things kind of aligned.
It's really cool
to make
and
sense.
Again, it all happened naturally, it all happened naturally. It's not like you forced the issue or you just did it for the sake of it. You went for the vibe and it just all fit together.
It's good when that happens, and that was one of the songs that was written late on in the process and quite quickly. Some songs were there for years and years and were really difficult to write and took hammering away at different things for ages. But that song was written relatively quickly without much problems, which is always great when that happens. It's really cool to just when it comes naturally like that. And it's one of my favorite songs on it as well. I think it's a fun one. It's one of the one of the most rocking songs I've written in quite a while. Which is always nice, always fun, a little bit of the rock and roll vibe.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely going to be a massive crowd pleaser, that one. It's going to get the crowd going, I think. Yeah,
it's a fun one to shout along to. That's why it was released as the first single as well. I thought it was the most appealing or most accessible, I guess, out of the album. It's got a shout along chorus, whereas something like Babanshee's like 7 minutes long and there's loads of words and loads of parts and stuff like that, whereas something like Canile's more straightforward and shout alongy.
Yeah. So when you were just talking about like granite and the Granite City and grey and stuff like this, I kind of want to talk about the album artwork a little bit because
Mm,
that's very much what the album artwork is. So
yeah.
who designed the art? What happened there? What was the idea behind it?
So Adam Burke did the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
He did the last album, or
Mm-hmm.
the last album. He already had that piece um, available, and I came across it, and it was literally exactly what I had in mind
Yeah.
for the album. For the album, the last album, I thought, I wanted a green color palette, like green, and
Mm-hmm.
I just loved the whole artwork, and I licensed it quick, like really as soon as I saw it.
Yeah.
And so for this one, I got in touch with him to make an original one for the album.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I gave him a couple like ideas. I asked for this kind of color palette because I've been saying it to everyone. I don't know if it means anything to anyone else, or if
Mm-hmm.
anyone knows what I mean, but my thinking for the album's sound was it felt colder than the last
Mm-hmm.
album. I don't know why. Like I say, I don't know if it makes sense to anyone, but it feels I had the image of the music as colder, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe the production colder or something. And so I wanted blue, grey kind of color palette.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I wanted to kind of showcase the Highlands, like a Scottish kind of landscape, and
Mm-hmm.
the landscape on the album is inspired by a place nearish where I live, called Rannoch Moor.
I've been
Um,
there.
yeah, so it's kind
Yeah, I've been
of
there.
like that, based on
Mm-hmm.
that, and you've got yeah, um, and yeah, obviously there's the goat, and yeah, and I wanted it to keep with the theme of the last album. I wanted it to be similar in style to the last album because it's a
Mm-hmm.
kind of continuation with the themes and stuff,
Yeah.
but also at the same time the opposite. So you've got the
Mm-hmm.
three figures and the goat are reversed. The last
Mm-hmm.
time the three figures were at the back in the background
Mm-hmm.
top left, and now they're at the foreground bottom
Yeah.
right, and the goat is in the reverse order.
Yeah.
Um,
Even the
and
colors
yeah,
are in reverse order as well, because the last album, it's a very striking green color. The last album,
yeah,
very striking, very, very in your face. But this one, like you said, it's colder, it's
yeah,
murkier, it's darker. So yeah, that was a good contrast.
yeah. And he done a great job, and it was exactly. I mean, all credit to him. I can't remember exactly how much input I had in it. I might have had a couple ideas and stuff, but
Yeah.
he did all the work. Like came up with everything, and yeah, I was so pleased when he sent it to me. The sketch looked great, and I was
Mm-hmm.
excited for the final one. Then he sent me like an almost finished one. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool. And
Yeah.
when I got it, I was like, perfect. Yeah, it was just exactly what the album. It was exactly what I kind of pictured when I
Mm-hmm.
had the songs together. I always
Yeah. I
have
mean,
like
and I think
it's always
that's really
fun. Yeah,
important.
yeah. Oh yeah, album artwork is like still a massive part of. I think so important.
Mm-hmm.
I used to buy albums in HMV and stuff based on cover art, and
Yeah.
I would click on YouTube videos based on cover art. And
Yeah.
now there's so many. You go on Bandcamp, you've got type in metal on Bandcamp, you've got a billion
Yeah.
albums available, and you scroll through Spotify, there's YouTube, sorry, there's a
Mm-hmm.
million different things, and
Yep.
yeah, and it's good to have good cover art, and it just feels like the album's complete when you've got
Yes.
that to wrap it in. And yeah, it always it feels like finished. Yeah, it feels complete when you've
Mm-hmm.
got the cover art, and yeah, and I'm always so pleased when that happens, and yeah, so all credit to Adam for doing that because I'm pleased.
Good, good. I mean, it's the album art that really draws people in to begin with
Mm,
before they even look at anything else.
mm,
I mean, when I'm doing my reviews, for example, it's always the album artwork that kind of grabs my
yeah,
attention first, and then I'll go and check it out because of that. I mean, I know
yeah,
people say, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but you do, and
yeah,
you have to make sure it grabs your attention, and that one for Cornac certainly did.
perfect. I mean, yeah, that's the best response you can get, really. And yeah, it is important because yeah, like I say, it's so easy you can put anything up with any artwork now, and there's an AI and
No, we
whatever,
don't do AI
so you don't
here.
yeah, I know, that's what I mean. So you want something good to
Yeah.
stand out in amongst, because yeah, you want high quality, high effort artwork, in it.
Hmm.
And like you say, yeah, you don't judge a book by its cover, but if something's got good artwork, it kind of it suggests the music will be better. It might
Yes.
not be, but
Hmm.
yeah, you're more inclined to think it's better. Whereas, yeah, if I see an album with like bad AI artwork, I'm
Hmm.
not expecting the music to be
Yeah.
highly of high quality or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, when you look at AI artwork, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, if I see AI artwork, instant no, just
Mhm.
out of principle alone, to be honest.
Yeah,
But whereas good artwork by an actual artist, there's a lot of soul, there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of time put
yeah,
into that. And it's that that's going to make people want to listen to the music, whether they
Mhm.
like the music or not.
Yeah,
It's going to make them more likely to go and listen to it in the first place.
yeah, and it can make you want to like something more as well. Like you want
Mm-hmm.
to, I mean, not just artwork, but aesthetics and stuff in general. Like you see a band with cool merch or cool, um, yeah, artwork, whatever,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, you're like, oh, I want to be part of this. I want to have this shirt and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
you give it more of a chance,
Yeah.
because yeah, sometimes a lot of my favorite things I disliked on first listen, and then they end up being my favorite album
Mm-hmm.
after a year or something.
Yeah, yeah, I'm exactly the same. So you guys are going to be going out on tour very, very soon. I know that there's a little bit of an issue with a bassist mishap at the moment. How are you getting on with fixing that?
We're fine now. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we put out what do you call it? An Instagram story, asking for
A
people
call
to
for
get in
help.
touch. Yeah, a call for help. And we got a bunch of responses, and we've got someone that will fill the void very well, and it'll be cool. But yeah, yeah, not ideal. A month before you go on the tour and you break your leg ice skating.
I don't think it was on purpose, though, to be fair.
Nah, I feel so bad for him because he just messaged me like, yeah, I've really hurt my knee. And I was like, oh no, that's horrible. And he was like, yeah, I've got to go to the hospital. Then the next day he was like, yeah, I've broke my knee. I was like, okay.
Oh,
Then he was like, then
wow.
he kept updating me like every so often. Oh, a new update. It's getting worse. I've ruptured my ligament or torn a ligament or something.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
okay. He's like, okay, my surgery's been pushed back. I'm like, poor Andy. But and he wants to come on the tour, and
Mm,
I feel horrible for him. But he'll be back soon
yeah,
enough. Yeah, it's just not ideal timing for him.
yeah.
Recovery wise and stuff. And yeah, I mean, even the performing side of it, if that was fine, but it's the sitting on a plane, sitting in a van,
Mm-hmm.
lift, lifting gear, moving stuff. Like the whole thing of touring is
Yeah.
not not the best environment for having a broken leg.
Yeah. It's not ideal. No, poor Andy. What a wee shame.
I
What a
know.
wee shame.
Yeah.
So just to round things up a little bit then, a very quick fire session for you. What would you say are the top 5 most essential Hellripper tracks?
Knuckle of V, number one. I would say All Hail the Goat, number two. Am I counting the new album as well, or?
Yeah, if you want, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So Hunder Press, number three. Yeah, number three. Um, I would say, I would say, a mixture. I would say Warlock's Grim, number four, like the title track, because it's a bit more accessible or easier to digest than the title track of the new album. They're both similar vibes, but I think the last one's a bit more um,
Mm-hmm.
easier to digest. And number five, I would say maybe Mortar Sheen from the new album. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
showcases the kind of punk, crusty crust punk kind of influence of Hellripper, but with the added um, added kind of influence from other styles and a more atmospheric influence. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, next one. Top 5 favorite metal albums of all time.
Favorite metal albums? Wow. So Ride the Lightning, probably Peace Sells, Dead Again by Typo Negative. This is so difficult. Um, Maybe Evil Never Dies by Toxic Holocaust,
Mm-hmm.
and one more. Probably Ghost Reveries by Opeth.
Nice. Nice choices. Okay, last question. Top 5 favorite non-metal bands.
Non-metal, okay. Chili Peppers, Manic Street Preachers, Arctic Monkeys, um, Nirvana, and so what's the last one I get stuck on?
I know.
And Beast Milk. Beast Milk. They'd be high up there.
Nice.
One of my favorites ever.
Nice. Awesome. So Coronac comes out on the 27th of March via Century Media Records. Is there anything that you would like to say to the fans?
Just thank you very much for the support. Go listen to the new album. Come see us on tour. Follow us on social media. Yeah, and just thank you very much. I'm very grateful for the support. And of course, all hail the goat.
All hail the goat. 100%. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This episode is copyright The Moshville Times, introductory music by Elliot Alderman Broom, and any music used throughout the episode is copyright to the original performers and creators.